Hi, this message is for people who are required to deliver increased assurance that their ESG and ERM programs are embedded across their organizations. By embedded, I mean programs that get under the skin of ESG and ERM in a way which facilitates collaboration between people and concretely supports business performance and sustainability. But first of all, we need to reflect on the state of ERM in the world today. We have yet to find any international ERM survey which reports that ERM is working well. Virtually all reports say that ERM is only working suboptimally, and that is a problem. Clearly, if ERM is not working well in the context of its traditional uses, how can we expect it to work well for ESG? ESG is a huge, complex topic. ESG data is all of the data which exists in a company apart from financial data. It reflects all of the non-financial activities undertaken by people to achieve outcomes. But people across organizations all use different language. They all use different ways of measuring things. This means that integrated, joined up thinking is very problematic. It is not easy. Decisions which need to be made at the strategic level are typically complex and knotted. They require a constant evaluation of the pros and cons and a constant eye to unintended consequences. As I've been discussing ESG with other international risk and governance experts, I've encountered immediate consensus that current risk methods probably really can't work for ESG because they're not working for less complex strategic challenges. This has led to the painting of an elephant, so to speak, in the room. Many organizations today really are just too big to know how and where the dominoes are stacked against them. They're just too big to know where the unseen risks are. And separately, small to medium-sized firms don't have the resources or the risk maturity to see across the risk landscape. And it gets worse now. Pace of technology disruption and global pace of change mean that it's getting harder to identify risks before they can do harm, in lots of cases, not all, but in lots of cases. And also, classical methods of estimating likelihood are no longer fit for purpose, other than in the simplest of cases, and they're getting rarer now in the complex world and the fast-moving world in which we live. Also, traditional frames of reference used to parameterize the risk landscape really can no longer comprehend the risk universe. What this means is that both large and small firms are effectively blind or almost blind to so many of the 21st century emerging risks, and ESG risks in particular. So what can be done now that is effective and practical? Well, we're living in the digital age, and that means that we have to reimagine our approach to risk. Just like the fintechs have reimagined the customer banking experience, and Amazon has reimagined the typical customer buying experience, we need to reimagine how organizations can get from point A to point B to generate value, regardless of the uncertainty in the world. This, after all, is what risk management is about. It's about understanding where we can speed up, where we need to slow down in order to achieve our objectives. But knowing when to speed up and when to slow down in an organization of any size and any type requires collaboration between people. And super collaboration correlates directly with super operational performance and excellent results. So for example, think in terms of the requirement to get a 3% lift in revenue, the achievement of specific ESG targets, a new product launch or whatever. What do we need? We need data-driven, evidence-based, actionable information. We need to know what HR, what sales, what IT, what operations, and what all the other functions are doing, specific to primary objectives and their associated supporting objectives. And we need to know what the leading indicators are that we're going to achieve our objectives, be they financial, be they related to ESG or whatever. Because really, if we think in the context of typical historic reports, getting last month's news today can be interesting. and it's of value and it's required. But it's not as interesting and it's not as valuable as getting the leading indicators of what might happen tomorrow are. So I would ask you to think, in reimagining our approach to risk, to think of people as sensors in an autonomous vehicle. Think of them using their mobile apps, their phones or their pads or whatever, where they can do fast assessments, in less than 5 or at most 10 minutes at a time. And that behind the scenes then, we have powerful AI technologies which are automating processes, giving us deep insights then as well about what's around the corner. And then also using powerful data visualizations to help folk interact not only with each other, but with data, and to build scenarios and model scenarios in real time. After all, really, the day of PowerPoints, PDFs, and for that matter, risk registers and heat maps and the like, these days are numbered. So think of the power of seeing levels of confidence that people have in achieving objectives or not achieving objectives, and the impacts, be they positive or negative. Think of the power of saying what parts of the business are most impacted positively or negatively. Think of the power of saying how we're tracking towards the achievement of key milestones. This kind of approach works particularly well in organizations where people are aligned across a common purpose and specific goals, and where, most importantly, transparency and strong communications are a living part of the culture of the organization. It's how they do things in the organization. Technology on its own won't achieve what you want it to achieve without that type of culture, that type of approach, purpose, alignment, communications, and transparency, what we call PACT. If you'd like to learn more about this type of thinking or the approach that we have, then you can take a look at my Medium or LinkedIn profiles where I've written about the problems that we're facing in the world and some solutions. Or you can take a look at other messages in the Seluxor YouTube channel. Thank you for listening.